Welcome to the Rural Revival Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Larson. Today we're with Josh and Sara Holmquist of Normal Roasting Company in Burwell, Nebraska. In today's episode, you'll find out how Josh and Sara bought an existing coffee company on a whim and grew it from a hobby to what is now multiple businesses. They talk about how they dealt with overwhelming growth, building an iconic brand, scaling their business in the early years, plus the wholesale side of their business and the amazing community they have built there. Real quick before we get to the interview, I want to ask you about your brand goals for 2024. Did you start out the year with big brand goals but still haven't found the time to work on those? If that's you, we've got 4 months left in the year and we can help make this happen for you through Branded by Rural Revival, our rural design studio that specifically focuses on helping small businesses and small towns. From websites to logos, marketing assets, course building, and podcast setup, we are ready to help you build a brand you love. You can find out more at brandedbyruralrevival.co and go check out some of our latest work. And now, here we go with Josh and Sara. Okay, well, we are here in Burwell, Nebraska with Josh and Sara Holmquist of Normal Roasting Company. Guys, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about the background of Sara and Josh. Are y'all from here?
So I moved to Burwell in 1997.
Maybe you can just start over and say that you're from here.
I'm from here. Okay, let me try that again. My name is Josh Holmquist, and I'm from Burwell.
Stop.
I'm Josh, and I am from here. And
Awesome.
I met my beautiful wife at college in Norfolk.
And we drove here with 2 coffees in our hands from Starbucks in 2011.
Where are you from?
I'm from Plattsmouth originally.
Gotcha.
So you drove here with 2 coffees.
Yes.
And did you ever have plans of coming back here?
No, we had no plans of coming back here.
So 2 coffees, where did that lead to?
So we came back, and I got a job with a local electrician that also works on pivots.
Okay.
And Sara was a stay-at-home mom, and we did that thing for 2 years, and then we branched out, and I started an electrical business with a buddy of mine.
Okay.
And we ran that for...
I think we sold within a year.
Was it a year?
Yeah.
We sold my portion of it back to my partner, and then I continued employment there.
Okay.
The partnership just didn't work. The business was great, but so
then from there we started the electrical company in 13. We sold in 14, and then I continued to work for the electrician until 17, when I went part-time with Normal.
Okay. So when you were doing
that is not right. We should let me do the dates.
All right, you
So
do the dates.
from 2014, we wanted to be entrepreneurs. Like, that was always a bent or like a pull on our hearts. And I was friends with the previous owners of Normal Roasting Company, and she mentioned she was going to sell it. And I just called Josh and I was like, "What do you think about coffee?" So
I remember where I was. I was up north working on a job, and she called, and she was like, "Hey, so like I've been talking, and Normal's going to come up for sale. What do you think about this?" And I'm like, "I like drinking coffee. Let's give it a shot." And so,
But up till this point, coffee had not been on your radar.
not coffee as a business. We loved coffee, and we were very diligent about having coffee together every morning before the kids woke up. So like, it was always like, it was the right avenue for us because we loved it already. And like, the connection time was so important to us. And we still do have coffee together before the kids wake up every single day. So I think that's where it was like the reason why it was interesting to us. And then it was supposed to be just like a hobby for me and somewhere to like, I don't know, get business expenses from. Like, I don't know. So we got it. And at the time they were roasting 1 day a week and had 3 wholesale accounts and would sell bags of coffee if someone messaged them on Facebook. And so we bought it just as a hobby for me to go do 1 day a week. And within 4 months, we had moved it from Arcadia to Burwell and renovated a building or half of a building, and started roasting 2 days a week. We bought it in March. By the end of July, we were roasting 2 days a week. I built our first website then, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
Wow.
And then I think he came on in 2018. It was about a year of me roasting, packaging, fulfilling, marketing, doing everything. I was doing the finances terribly. So we also found someone to do our finances. And so he came on about a year after we bought it, and he was actually doing all the packaging. And we pretty quickly realized that like sitting behind a roaster, pushing a button, tracking things was not the best place for my creative brain. So I started doing the packaging and more marketing and branding and that kind of fun stuff. And he started roasting.
Oh yeah.
And and then he, I'm trying to think of that's how it was for until 2020. It was pretty much both of us working about 2.5 days a week. He was also working for the electrician he switched and worked for a plumber friend that had better flexibility for like knowing that Josh had priorities with Normal before his other job. So
Got it.
we kind of like eased into Normal fully supporting us.
So taking just a step back, when you moved everything, was that because you were anticipating more demand, or was that because the demand was already so high, like you had to have more space?
We had to be closer to home. It
Got
was
it.
about 45 minutes away, and we just had to move it closer to home because I was still primarily a stay-at-home mom and didn't need to be driving 45 minutes to work. So
Yeah, it was a couple of things. Like, we do live in central Nebraska, and so like weather happens. And so there were a couple of times where we were unable to make it to the facility because it's a 45-minute drive one way, snow and different things. But then also, like, we sat down and we're looking at our expenses, and I'm like, we're paying a babysitter for an hour and a half. You know, we're spending money on fuel for 90 miles. We still have the expense of rent and the insurance and all of this stuff. Like, by the time we sit down, like, we could be paying a mortgage on a building.
Yeah.
And we were having trouble with shipping because UPS picked up on a day that I wasn't there. So I was always like nervous that they wouldn't get it or whatever. And these coffee shops need their coffee on time. So
Fresh.
yeah, fresh. So shipping was a lot of it. And then, we realized that we could be paying on a building. And we happened to know of one that was empty. And Josh used to work for the previous owners of it. They were plumbers. And
Go figure.
Right.
so we contacted them and they sold it to us. And we renovated the back half first for the roastery and ran out of the back for 3 years.
Wow.
And a lot of the locals didn't even know what we were doing. Because it was out the back door. Nobody knew.
So you bought it, and there was kind of a built-in client base, but obviously that grew. So were you reaching out to people, or was it word of mouth that was just sending people your way?
For the first, 3-ish years, we were pretty just organic. We didn't.
I would say through 2022, through 2021, up to 2022.
Yeah.
Like, it was really word of mouth. And then COVID, things grew so quickly because there was such a push for small businesses that the word of mouth was happening naturally. And then once we opened the shop, the lab in the front of the building, it was really easy for a potential coffee shop owner to just visit us and like observe before they called or emailed us. So I feel like it was very word of mouth and organic until then. And then
The other thing
Maybe
too, like it
not.
was really hard. It's difficult to market like when there's just two of you
Sure.
because you don't have just a variety of humans coming in and out. You don't have other staff. It's just Josh and Sara.
There's no bandwidth.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just Josh and Sarah. So like you can only post so many selfies.
Well, and
It's like,
I had a
well,
ton of
this
fun
isn't
on
that
Instagram
exciting
back in the
anymore.
day. So like, I say back in the day, I just feel like Instagram isn't the same anymore. But okay, so I had a lot of fun on Instagram and like stories and that kind of thing, and I feel like that was really good for that season of like our business and my life and other businesses as far as following us. And it just isn't quite the same anymore, but it was good for that. And now, well, we have a person who does our marketing for us, and she's wonderful. But it's hard when I used to really enjoy it, how it was. And it's not the same.
Yeah.
So
2020, you're still working part-time, but that's when you went full-time?
Yes.
Was it because of COVID?
It was because we opened the lab.
Got
When
it.
we opened the
So
coffee shop, I
The
went
coffee
full-time.
shop is called The Lab. For
Yep.
anyone
The coffee lab.
listening.
Yep.
Yep.
So we call our coffee shop a coffee lab because the primary purpose of that, well, part of the purpose of the shop is to educate and elevate our wholesale customers that we're roasting coffee for. So if we have a wholesale partner that maybe would like some more training for staff or would maybe want to try some syrups, instead of them purchasing those products and potentially wasting that money, they can call us and be like, I've been looking on Instagram or social media and like this wild syrup is like been popping up a lot. Have you guys tried it yet? And I can say either no, we haven't, or actually, yes, we have, and here's what we have found. And if it's a no, we haven't tried it, we talk about it. And if it's something that we want to pursue, we can go out and buy that bottle and potentially save our wholesale customers a little bit of expense. And we're just trying to look for that more value add for our customers. But we also offer like classes and educational pieces as well.
How fun.
Yeah. It's been super cool.
Yeah. So how has the community embraced that?
It's been good. Like we're in a town of 1,200 people.
Yep.
And so like you do only have so many people that are going to drink coffee. And so just naturally our market is limited to what it is. But I think our local community is supporting us the best that they can. Being located in Burwell, though, we are 8 miles from the third largest man-made lake in the state. And so tourism during the summertime is huge. And so while we don't have locals, quote unquote, we do have like our summer locals that have lake houses and stuff like that. And they come out and they spend every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning in the lab drinking and hanging out with us. So,
and then we also have subscription coffee. So a lot of those tourists like traffic will take a bag home and then get online and realize that they can have it shipped to their door for, less every month. And so that's where a lot of our like lab sales go. It's really like the marketing piece. It's like the advertising for the bigger picture of what Normal does. So
Awesome. So you both went full time. Was it just still you two at that time?
So in 2020, he went full time and I was still working like 2 days a week at that time. And we started homeschooling. And so I actually pulled out and I had like, I was doing the job, but not really working there. And it was really hectic. So I think it was early 2021. We hired, I still call her my assistant Libby, and now she's like running things. But
so in 20 we hired staff to
yes,
man the lab.
Got
And
it.
then in the back we had a part-time packaging roasting person and then myself doing all of the production roasting. So there was essentially 2 people in the back, and then we had What?
I mean, anywhere from like 3 to 6 baristas.
Yeah.
Is what we've kind of carried since
Okay.
then. So, and it's shifted since then. The roaster that we had has actually moved on. She was really wonderful. And then the roaster, the human roaster that we have now, Tall Josh, he came to work for us as a barista and just mentioned like, hey, I'm interested in roasting. And he ended up being a fantastic fit. He's like worlds better than Josh and I were.
Mm-hmm.
So we love having him around. And then together with him and then Libby doing the marketing. She's kind of the organizational person.
Lab manager.
Yeah, lab manager. They're kind of like manning the day-to-day. And then in 23, Josh opened a coffee tech business, Theory Coffee Tech, and it does like equipment sales, service, and that
support.
kind of thing, and support. There you go.
Yep.
So he is working. I mean, you're in the shop most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just really depends. Like the Theory Coffee Tech stuff's pretty feast or famine. It seems like.
Okay.
Like we'll go maybe a week or two where we don't get any inquiries or requests. And then in a matter of 3 days, I'll wind up with 8 or 10.
Oh, wow.
And so then my next 2 weeks are filled with service calls, working on equipment and stuff. But no, it's been a lot of fun. It's pretty neat to just watch that grow. And unbeknownst to us, but everything leading up to August of 23 when we started Theory, I had been unknowingly training for the position. So for coffee equipment to work, you need water and electricity. And so I went to college to be an electrician. I'd spent time out in the field as an electrician. I still carry
He's actually a contractor.
I still carry my electrical contractor's license. I spent 4-ish years with a plumber, learning fluid fundamentals and all of that sort of stuff. And so like stepping into the coffee technician position was just really seamless and just kind of like the next logical step.
Wow.
It really was funny because we joked that it's been in the pipeline for 16 years because he went to college for this and then worked in it and as a plumber, and it just like, and we've almost opened this business 5 times probably in the history of Normal. And then like suddenly it was time, and it was actually the same day that my assistant decided to move to Burwell. So she was virtual before that, and she came up to tour an apartment, signed the lease, and then came in, and we were like, hey, we're starting this business. Let's build a website. So Theory has been really great for Normal and for Josh and I. It really like feeds Josh's soul and like fixing things and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But there's also no coffee technicians between Denver, Colorado and Lincoln, Nebraska.
Wow. Okay.
So it's not a very popular trade to get into. It's not a very known job field. And also like the coffee industry in Burwell in Nebraska is still pretty young, and the Midwest in general is still pretty young. But I think we're going to start seeing more and more shops showing up. We're going to see more and more coffee roasters coming in. And I gladly welcome all of it. I think there's plenty of room for all of us. And I also think that we're going to start seeing more and more people seriously looking into the coffee technician side of things as well as everything grows. And people are like, oh, like that's super cool. Like you're a coffee tech. You like work on espresso machines. We've got one of the heaviest traveled interstates in America, I-80. And at every gas station, they have a coffee maker. And those coffee makers all need service. And so like, yes, I do service and work on coffee machines in small communities and in large communities, but I also work on coffee equipment in gas stations and in hotels. And so like, if it has water and coffee, I can fix it.
Amazing.
Yes. And so there's a lot of work out there. It's just getting your name out there and figuring some of that stuff.
So cool. So I feel like you guys grew really fast in the beginning. How did you manage that? I mean, it had to be overwhelming.
Not very well.
I was just going to say not very well. I'm trying to think. Like, I know the first really insane, like, we were like panicky, kind of freaking out level of growth was 2020 when everyone was like, support small business. And we called the girl that was doing some packaging help for us as like a work release or like a school to work thing. And we're like, please come back. And then she ended up being a fantastic barista and she roasted for us for a little over a year, I think. So in that case, like we just kind of hired what was available at the time. And since then, I mean, it's just been, we do the best we can. We try to have work-life balance. And Josh and I are great at communicating with each other. So that helps where I can be like, okay, you're working too much. You need to come home at 5:30 or whatever. And that gets hard when he's on the road fixing an espresso machine. And then like yesterday, he was doing an install in McCook, and then he was installing an espresso machine, and then our espresso machine actually blew a fitting.
Yep.
And so he had to come fix our espresso machine after being on the road. So, and he didn't come home till 8:00, but it's fine. So that's how we manage it. I mean,
there
I guess
was espresso this morning.
There was. But our crew is really great, especially our leadership team of Libby and Tall Josh. We are so undeserving of the level of awesome that they are. So I think that's really how we handle it is they are picking up so much slack and they are so generous and, fun to be around, honestly. So that definitely helps, like having a great crew.
Having a team that we've surrounded ourselves with has definitely been a huge piece of it to make it work well.
Yeah. So you have a fun team. You have a really fun brand.
Yes.
I love what you've done with your brand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What was your original idea behind that?
So when we bought it, it had a very like block logo.
Where was Normal started at, Sarah?
In Normal, Illinois.
Oh, that's how it got the name.
So that's how it got it. And then when we bought it, we like briefly considered changing the name, but there are just so many good puns available with the name like Normal. So we ended up keeping it. We rebranded maybe I don't even know if we're a year in. Just like the logo was so hard to work with that I was like, I just want to do something else. And I just like played with it until I found something I liked. And I just enjoy playing with graphic design. I am not trained in it by any means. What? So, and then we have people that we go to for help if we need something further than that. A local friend just designed some t-shirts for us and coffee tins. It's just fun. I like working with different people. I really love taking advantage of like professional photography. So we are always having like real photographers in to take photos of us and have parties and take photos of that. So that's where a lot of it comes into is just like really great photography. Libby does an excellent job with our website and she does a lot of the design now. We're getting ready to design packaging, new packaging. So that kind of thing. It's just fun.
Well, as someone who loves branding, it's awesome.
Thank
you.
You've
done a
that
great
means so much.
job. So what's next, guys?
I really don't know. Continued growth. There's a lot of opportunity that's in the pipeline that we are currently working through, but there's just a lot of unknowns that I don't think we can
we're
comfortably
usually
disclose.
Yeah, we're usually very open with like, hey, this is coming, or like we do not do the secretive business thing. Like we love talking to people about stuff and getting ideas and sharing ideas, so we don't usually.
I just don't want to make an announcement that falls through and then I can't back up. So
well, it gives us a reason to follow you.
Oh, for sure.
See what's coming.
Yes.
Which, by the way, where do we follow you guys online?
So we're on Instagram and Facebook at Normal Roasting Company, online normalroastingcompany.com, and for wholesale interest, we have normalwholesalecollective.com.
So speaking of wholesale too, I mean, how far is your reach these days?
So for retail coffee, we have sent coffee to 49 states.
Okay.
Don't ask me which one we're missing. I believe it's somebody up in the northeast corner.
I think it was Vermont.
Someplace.
If anybody's
Anyway.
listening from Vermont, come on,
Please.
let's make this happen.
And then our wholesale partners are located across South Dakota, Kansas, South Dakota, Iowa, and Nebraska.
Okay.
If you're in Kansas, we don't have anyone in Kansas. I'd take one.
Okay. Are you open to other states?
Oh yeah,
too?
we
Oh,
go
absolutely.
totally further. We
Okay.
Yep. I was in conversations with a company out of Idaho for a while, but they found a local roaster that they partnered with, and that's totally fine and totally
Yeah.
awesome. But no, we are just out here trying to do things different and find that value add.
the whole like heart behind our wholesale is like extra care, not just like a place to order your beans from. Like we have a lot of support that is just not out there unless you're paying for it. And if you're a wholesale partner, there's a lot like of training and opportunities that we offer freely. Help getting started. We have a lot of consulting options. Obviously the equipment support. So wholesale is, the backbone of our business. And honestly, I think where we have the most fun, because we have seminars quarterly for them, like online and in person. We try to go see everyone, as often as we can. So wholesale is like our favorite.
It's your jam.
Yeah.
Well, and like we were talking, like the coffee industry is so young
Yeah.
in the Midwest and
Yeah.
Nebraska specifically. The wholesale collective came from conversations with our wholesale partners and hearing the common theme of like, it's just so lonely. I don't have anybody out here that I can talk to.
Yep.
And I'm
people
like,
being like secretive.
and I'm like,
about
man,
things.
I've got access to like 21 other homies. Like, why shouldn't I share those homies with the other homies, and then we can all be homies?
Yeah.
And so like that's where it came from. And so we started asking some of our accounts. I'm like, okay, here's this idea that I have. What do you guys think? And they were like, oh man, if you could put me in contact with a whole bunch of other coffee shops across the state of Nebraska, like that would be so sweet.
Well, we were doing a seminar, I don't remember when it was, and like 2 of our wholesale accounts were in the chat talking about something that they were working on. Like
As a side
they'd
thread.
never met each other.
Wow.
And they were on a seminar, and we had brought something up about decaf, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And someone offered some advice and someone asked a question, and I was like, this is why we're doing this.
Yeah.
So
And so it's been really fun, just putting coffee shops across multiple states into contact with one another.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun because like a coffee shop in McCook might be traveling through South Dakota and pull up their map and see where normal wholesale partners are located in South Dakota and reach out and be like, hey, this is who we are. We're passing through your town.
Yeah.
I'd love to stop in and just check out your operation. It's been so much fun because
Yeah.
then we will get, as a leadership team in the roastery, we'll get phone calls or text messages and saying, man, I was traveling through town and I checked out this other coffee shop and like they had this and this and this. And I think I'm going to take that home with me and implement that in my organization.
like, and that's the whole point. Like
A
sharing.
rising tide rises all ships.
Absolutely.
So like, yeah, it's just been really, really fun to come up with this idea and then implement it and then see the success and the positive feedback from the implementation of it. So that's been super cool.
Yeah. Great. What advice would you have for our listeners of things that you've maybe learned in your entrepreneurship journey that you might want to share with them?
I think what Josh and I have talked about is when we, in the first like 3 years of Normal, we were like, yeah, just start, just do it. And then once we got to year like 5 and it got really hard, we started encouraging people to think further into just starting it. Like, yes, you have to just start it, but you need to think a little further. And what are years 5 to 8 going to look like? And think about financing at that time, because it's not as easy to get financing in year 5 than it is for startup. And So now we're a little bit more cautious about saying, just do it, because it's really hard.
Yeah.
But
There's
anyway.
definitely like being more intentional with scale
Yeah.
with scaling your business or your organization in the early years and laying a foundation for that. Because there's tons and tons of money and all sorts of grants and help for the startup phase.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you don't know. But once you get started and you get moving in the right direction, like Sarah was saying, you hit year 5, 6, and 7, and it's no longer new. It gets to be a little bit of a grind. And if you're still operating in 5, 6, and 7, you're probably starting to scale and grow. And if you haven't prepared yourself or set yourself up for that sort of thing, it can be very difficult to, to move through that growth, because we have to ask ourselves, like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Yeah. Do I have to produce the numbers to get the money, or do I need to get the money to produce the numbers? And so if you can be thinking about this before you ever start, yes, you may think about it all wrong, but at least you have thought about it. So my biggest recommendation to anybody that's listening is, if you're a small business owner, surround yourself with incredible humans. You want, a good leadership team within your organization. You want a good banker, a good lawyer, and a good insurance person. Be thinking about what years 5, 6, and 7 look like and what scalability is going to do, and farm out all of the things you suck at.
Yes.
Like all of the things that you hate, get rid of them as soon as you financially are able to.
Yeah.
Like, we got rid of billing and all of like the financial side of our business. I love looking at P&Ls. They're super awesome. I love looking at the spreadsheets. I have zero desire to build them. And there are people out there that get super jazzed to build those. So why don't you allow them to do the things that you're bad at, and you focus on the things that you're really good at? That's the other thing, is like, get rid of the things that you hate as soon as possible.
The other thing that I know you've had other people suggest, and so I'm just going to echo it, is professional photography.
Oh, so important.
We've worked with some really great photographers, and it's been, that's why our business looks good. So
it's nothing that we're doing. It's the professionals that we hire to make us look good.
So it's worth the investment.
Oh,
absolutely.
totally worth the investment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was hard at the beginning, but once you see it, the payoff, it's not at all hard.
Yeah. Yep. Photography and videography are huge.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, anything else on your hearts to share before we wrap up?
No, but it's been super fun. Thank you. I really do appreciate it.
This was so fun. I'm so glad we got to meet. I love what you're doing. I love the community that you're building. And so we look forward to see what's next.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Well, as you can tell, these guys are such a fun couple, and I love how they've grown and scaled this business. And also how they just lit up when we started talking about wholesale and this great community that they've built. They truly have an incredible brand, and I encourage you to go give them a follow at the links in the show notes. And if you happen to be listening from Vermont, please go place an order and let's get them to their 50th state. Huge thanks to Josh and Sara for being on the podcast, and thanks to you for tuning in. Have a great day, everybody.